The space station floated in the middle of nothing, far from any planet. It was called Unity Point. Ships from many alien races came here. It was a place for peace talks, trade, and meetings. The station was huge, built by a team of different species. Lights blinked on every level, and translators buzzed quietly in the air. Inside a large meeting room, a young human envoy named Laura sat at a long table. Her face was calm, but her hands were tense under the table. She listened as a group of alien leaders argued. "Your people are hiding something," said a tall creature with silver skin and glowing eyes. It was a diplomat from the Viren Empire. Laura kept her voice steady. "Humanity is growing, yes, but we have nothing to hide. We want peace." A short, spiny creature from the Drovak Syndicate tapped its claws on the table. "Peace is fine, but you build ships too fast. You spread across the stars in just 100 years. No one advances that fast. Not without help." Laura looked around the table. "Our progress is our own. We adapt quickly. We learn fast. That is not a crime." The aliens were not convinced. Nodded. Others narrowed their eyes. The mood was cold. On a military command ship near Earth, Admiral Jonathan Pierce stood in front of a display screen. He was tall, with gray hair and a deep voice. He had been in the Navy for 40 years. He watched as a secret message flashed on the screen. It was marked with a code he had not seen in decades. His aide, a young officer named Kyle, looked nervous. "Sir, this just came in from Earth's command. It's real." Pierce nodded slowly. "Protocol Argus? I hoped I would never see this." He walked to a locked case at the back of the room. Inside was an old data chip, small and black. He inserted it into the main system. A new map appeared. It showed a region of space, far beyond the edge of any known star systems. Coordinates. Blinked red. "Send the signal," Pierce said. Now Kyle hesitated. "Are we sure, sir? This signal hasn't been used in over 10,000 years. "Exactly," said Pierce. "And it's time." The signal burst into space, carried by a tight beam of energy. It moved faster than light, disappearing into the darkness beyond the stars. On a small moon at the edge of the galaxy, something heard the signal. Deep under ice and rock, a machine blinked on. It had not moved in ages. A soft hum began to grow. Louder. Back on Earth, a man named Daniel Monroe sat in a quiet library. He was a historian and once a naval officer. He loved reading about ancient myths and forgotten wars. But today, 3 strangers walked into the library and changed his life. They wore black uniforms with no marks. One of them showed him a badge. "Daniel Monroe, we need you. It's urgent." Daniel stood up. "What is this about?" "The past," said the agent. "A very old past." Daniel was taken to a hidden base deep under the mountains. There he saw Admiral Pierce waiting. "Daniel," Pierce said, shaking his hand, "you studied the lost records. The old maps, the symbols. We need your help. We sent out a signal. Something." Answered. Daniel looked confused. "What do you mean something answered? Something old," Pierce said. "It's older than our history books, older than our cities. We need you to help us understand what we just woke up." Far away, in the dark edges of space, an alien scout ship floated silently. It was small, built to sneak and listen. 2 scouts watched their screens. They had followed the human signal and found something strange. "It is huge," said one. "Too big to be a station." "Energy readings are rising," said the other. "It's not dead. It's waking up." The ship they saw was hidden inside an asteroid field. Its surface was dark and covered in strange marks.
Ow.
The design was nothing like modern ships. It was smooth and quiet, but the power it gave off was massive. "Send a message to High Command," said the scout. "The humans have something ancient, something dangerous." On the Unity Point station, Laura sat alone in her room. She looked out the window at the stars. Her mind raced. The meeting had gone badly. The aliens were afraid. She could feel it. Her personal screen blinked. A message came through. It was from Admiral Pierce. "Laura, they know? The other species are watching us closely. You need to stay calm, but be ready. We may have to show them the truth." Laura took a deep breath. She remembered stories her grandmother told her. Stories about ships that sailed the stars before history. She thought they were myths. Now she wasn't so sure. The stars outside didn't look any different, but something had changed. Something deep and old had started to move again, in the far distance. Hidden in shadow, a ship opened its eyes for the first time in 10,000 years. And it remembered. The war was not over. It only slept, and now humanity had called it back. The alien fleet watched the humans closely. The tall commanders of the Dravari Alliance believed they had one. Their ships floated near Earth's orbit, shining with strange blue lights and massive weapons.
Ow.
Many other species had surrendered before. They expected the same from humans. But Earth stayed quiet. In one of Earth's underground bases, General Laura Dean looked at the large screen. Her face showed no fear. Around her, officers moved fast, checking reports, scanning the sky, preparing systems. Beside her stood Captain Alan Brooks. He was younger, but sharp. He had fought in space before. He had also seen things most would. "Not believe. Are the silent codes working?" Laura asked. "Yes, ma'am. The Dravari do not see our movement. They think we are just afraid," Alan replied. Laura nodded. She turned to another officer. "Show me the list of active units." The officer pressed a few buttons, and a new screen appeared. Names of ships, units, and crew flashed in front of her. Most of these ships were hidden deep in space or buried under oceans and mountains. No one knew they even existed. "These ships," Laura said, pointing at the names, "were built before even the first cities were formed. They have been sleeping, waiting." Alan looked at her. "Are we ready to wake them?" Laura did not answer right away. She stared at the screen. Outside, in space, the enemy moved closer. A warning came. The Dravari were sending a message. Screen changed. A tall figure with pale skin and black armor appeared. His voice echoed in the room. "People of Earth, you are now under control of the Dravari Alliance. Now there is no need for blood. Give up your weapons. Open your planet. This is your final offer." Silence filled the command room. Then Laura smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had waited a long time for this moment. "Send the reply," she said. Alan sent a simple message back. "We choose to fight." Far away in the dark part of space, an old satellite woke up. It sent a signal. That signal traveled across old tunnels and deep systems. It reached a place that no one had touched for ages. There, a massive metal door opened. Behind it stood a ship, covered in dust and time. Its name was carved in a forgotten language, but it was not dead. Its engines started to glow. Its eyes opened, and it was not alone. Across the earth, deep in oceans and under deserts, other ships started to wake. Each one older than the last. Some were from before the stars had even settled. Some were not built by machines, but by hands and minds now gone from history. They had not been made for travel. They had been made for war. Laura watched the signals come in. One by one, the ships reported back. She turned to Alan. "They are ready." Alan stared at the list. They were real, all of them. "Well, yes," Laura said. "We never forgot. We only waited." In space, the Dravari ships moved into attack lines. They still thought Earth was weak. They had never met a species that hid its strength for so long. The first human ship appeared from the dark side of the moon, moved without sound. Its shape was not like modern ships. It looked like a creature from an old dream. "We're alive." The ship locked on to the nearest enemy and fired. The Dravari ship exploded in a ball of fire and light. The others turned quickly. They were not afraid, but now they were confused. More ships came, from all directions. Old ships, powerful ships. Some carried weapons that had no name. Others used strange energy that broke through shields like paper in the command room. Cheers rose. But Laura stayed calm. "This is only the start," she said. In space, the battle grew. Human ships moved together like they had trained for this for years, but they had not. It was something else. Something inside them remembered how to fight. One of the Dravari commanders shouted to his crew, "Who are these people?" But no one could answer. Back on Earth, in a secret room, a man sat alone. His name was Joseph. He had no rank, no title. But he was the one who had watched over the old ships. He had studied the ancient codes. He had waited. He turned to a small screen. "Begin." "Phase 2, he said. Suddenly new signals spread out. Not just to space, but to far systems. To moons and lost outposts. Ships once left behind turned back on. The stars began to notice. Something was coming. Alan looked at the screen. "We had ships that far." Joseph's voice came through the speaker. "We had ships everywhere." The Dravari now saw the truth. They had not come to take over a small planet. They had stepped into a storm, one that had been sleeping for too long. Laura turned to her officers. "Send this message to all channels. Let the galaxy hear it." She spoke clearly to all who watch. "We are not what you thought. We are humanity, and we have not even begun." The old warships flew in lines, cutting through enemy fleets. The sky burned with the light of battle. Earth stood strong. The war had begun. But this time, it would not be like before. The sky near Earth was full of movement. Old human warships, now awake and strong, flew in lines above the planet. They formed a shield. Their shapes were not like new ships. They were sharp, silent, and made for power. Each one held weapons that had not been seen in thousands of years. Admiral Pierce stood on the deck of the Sentinel. The ship was ready. The crew had trained hard in the last few days. But this ship did not need much help. It remembered how to fight. Reports came from every corner of space. Ships were waking up from hidden caves, old moons, and deep oceans. Each one joined the growing human fleet. Some were small, built for speed. Others were giants, carrying weapons that could cut through planets. All of them answered the same signal. All of them followed the ancient code. Daniel, Monroe, and Megan were now on the Starhold, the large ship they had found under the dust planet. After the attack by alien spies, they had moved fast. The Starhold had accepted Daniel as a commander. It had also given him access to more data. Inside the ship's memory was a long list of names and places. Many were unknown to the modern world. "These are not just ships," Daniel told Megan. "They are keys. Each one holds part of our lost past." Megan looked at the screen. "This one here," she said, pointing at a glowing point on the map, "is marked as the core memory vault." "What is it?" Daniel read the old words beside it. "It holds the story of the first people, the beginning of everything. They sent the location to Earth. Admiral Pierce saw it and called his top team. 'Send 2 ships there,' he ordered. 'Protect them. That place is the heart of our truth.'" In a far system, alien ships moved closer. The Dravari fleet had called allies from other empires. Some came out of fear, others came for power. Together, they formed a large force. Their goal was simple: stop the humans before it was too late. In a large meeting space on one of the alien ships, leaders spoke in anger. "The humans are bringing back their old power," one said. "They will take the stars. We must strike now," another said. "Before they learn everything," a spy gave a report, "they have not yet opened the core memory vault. That is our chance." The alien fleet turned its course. They would not wait. Back on Earth, Pierce prepared for what was coming. He sent messages to every human colony and base. "Stand ready. Protect the skies. Watch the stars." Laura Dean was now leading the defense at Mars. She looked at the growing map of enemy movement. It was clear the aliens were not here to talk. "We cannot show fear," she told her officers. "We must show them what we are." Ships flew out from Mars and joined the main fleet. They took position near the moon, building the final wall before Earth. Meanwhile, Daniel and Megan reached the vault. It was hidden under an old star. The light from the star was weak, but the energy inside the vault was strong. Connected to the door, symbols lit up. A deep sound echoed inside the ship. Then the door opened. Daniel and Megan stepped inside. The vault was not just a machine, it was a living memory. Lights danced across the walls. Stories played in the air. They saw the rise of the first people. Ships flying to other galaxies. Cities built in space. Peace, war, and finally silence. We were everywhere, Daniel whispered. We were more than anyone knew. Then came the last part of the story, a great war. The first people fought a dark enemy, one not from this galaxy. The cost was too high. In the end, the first people made a choice. It would sleep. They would hide their ships in memory until the time was right. The vault ended with one message. To those who wake, you are the hope. Remember, rise, lead. Megan touched the final light. Now we understand. Daniel sent a full record. To Earth. Admiral Pierce watched the message in silence. When it ended, he turned to his crew. We are not just survivors. We are the return. But before he could say more, an alarm rang. A large alien fleet was entering the outer system. It was the Dravari and their allies. Pierce gave the order. All ships to battle lines. Prepare defense. The sky near Earth changed. Human ships took their places. Old warships rose in front, shields glowing bright. Behind them, the new ships formed wings. The stars looked ready for war. The alien fleet sent a message. Stand down or be destroyed. Pierce sent back one line, we have stood long enough. The battle began. Lasers, missiles, and strange beams lit the darkness. The human ships moved like dancers, smooth and fast. The old ships remembered every move. They fought like they had never slept. Alien ships tried to break the line. Some got close. But then the Starhold arrived. It came with a force so strong that the alien line shook. Daniel led the ship into the heart of the enemy, used the ship's memory to guide every step. The Starhold was not just a ship. It was a symbol. The aliens fired everything they had, but the old shields held. On Earth, people watched from screens. They saw fire in the sky, but did not run. They stood tall. In space, the battle turned. One by one, the alien ships fell back. Some were destroyed, some escaped, but none could win. The human fleet stood in silence. Then a light appeared. Another ship had joined. It was the last of the old command ships. Its name was Dawn Light. Pierce looked at it with pride. The past has come home. The message went out to all. We are humanity. We have returned. We carry the memory of stars, and we will rise again. The battle was over, but the real change had just begun. Asterisk, the stars were quiet after the battle. The wreckage of alien ships floated slowly near the edge of Earth's space. Fires had gone out, and the noise of war had faded. Human ships stood strong, their old and new hulls glowing in the soft light of distant suns. Admiral Pierce stood at the window of the Sentinel. He watched the sky. Behind him, officers worked silently. The victory was clear, but Pierce knew it was only the beginning. Send a message to all ships, he said. We move to Phase 2. It is time to rebuild and reconnect. Across Earth, the news of the battle spread fast. People in cities and colonies watched the return of ships they had never seen before. These ships had names older than their nations. They had not just saved Earth, they had changed everything. Daniel Monroe and Megan returned to Earth in the Starhold. As they landed, crowds waited outside the command center. People cheered. Some cried. These two had found the truth. They had shown that the stories were real. Inside the command hall, Daniel gave a report to the world leaders. He showed images from the vault. He spoke of the first people, the ancient war, and the choice to sleep until the right time. The right time is now, Daniel said. We are the ones they trusted to wake and lead again. This is not only about war, it is about who we are, Megan added. We cannot keep this power to ourselves. We must protect it, but we must also learn from it. This knowledge is not just for us. It is for peace. The leaders listened. Some were afraid. Others were proud. But none could deny the truth. In the next weeks, Earth formed a new council. It included voices from every colony and every major region. The old command was replaced by something new. It was called the Unity Accord. It would lead the human fleet and guide contact with other species. Ambassadors from other worlds came to speak. Some came to make peace. Others came to spy. But all came with questions. At Unity Point Station, Laura Dean stood as the first ambassador of the new accord. She faced the gathered aliens with calm strength. "You have seen our ships," she said. "You have seen our history. We are not your enemy. But we will not be ruled. We ask for peace. We offer truth. We expect respect." Some alien leaders agreed. They signed a new peace. They joined talks to build a shared future. But others stayed silent. The memory of their defeat was still fresh. They would not forget. Some would not forgive. Back on Earth, Daniel began work on a new project. He called it the Library of Origins. It would hold every file, every map, and every story from the vaults. It would be open to all humans, and later to trusted allies. Megan worked with engineers to study the ancient ships. Some ships were too damaged to fly again, but their parts and systems held answers. They would help build a new kind of ship, one that mixed old and new ways. In the far reaches of space, more old ships woke up. They had heard the signal. They had waited. Now they came home. Some ships came from lost colonies. Others came from hidden bases near the edge of the galaxy. Each one added to the strength of the human fleet. One day, a strange ship appeared near Saturn. It was not like the others. Its design was curved and smooth. No one knew its name. But when it connected with the Sentinel, the screen lit up with a message. "Guardian Unit Online, seeking command." Pierce read the data. This ship had never been seen before. It was not part of any list. It had been built after the last great war in secret. He turned to his officers. "We need to understand what this one was meant to guard." The search began again. Meanwhile, a group of young students visited the Library of Origins. One child, a girl with bright eyes, asked Daniel a question. "Why did they go to sleep?" Daniel smiled. "Because they believed someone would need to wake up and carry on their dream. That someone is us." The girl nodded. She looked at a screen showing an old ship flying through stars. "Will we go out there too?" "Yes," Daniel said. "One day, and we will not go alone." New training centers opened across the colonies. People learned about the old technology, the new systems, and the history that had been lost. More than soldiers, they trained explorers, thinkers, and leaders. The old war had left scars, but it had also left hope at night. The human ship Horizon moved through dark space. Inside, Daniel Monroe looked at the screen in front of him. Strange symbols blinked slowly. The signal they followed had grown stronger. The team believed it came from another old ship. Megan sat. Beside him, she watched the signal closely. "We are close," she said. Daniel nodded. "Bring us in. We need to see what's waiting." The ship landed on a rocky moon. The surface was dark and covered in sharp stone. They stepped out wearing light suits. Their boots crunched over the hard ground. A large hill rose ahead. The signal came from behind it. They climbed the hill and found a metal door hidden under rock. The same symbols appeared again. Daniel reached out and touched the center. A soft pulse ran through the door. It opened slowly with a deep sound. Inside was a wide tunnel. Lights turned on one by one. The walls were smooth, shining with a silver color. As they walked, the path took them deeper underground. At the end was a large room. In the middle stood a ship. It looked newer than the others, but still very old. The body was shaped like a long blade. It sat in silence, but lights flashed along. It sighed. Daniel walked closer. The ship lit up. A voice came from above. "Human command confirmed. Access granted." Megan looked around. "Another one. It's ready." Daniel turned to the team. "Let's check the systems. We need to know what it can do." They entered the ship. The doors opened like it had waited for them. Inside, everything was clean. Screens turned on. One screen showed a map of the stars. Points of light marked other hidden ships. There are still more out there, Daniel said. This is not the end. They named the ship Beacon, joined. The other ships already found. Beacon lifted from the moon and flew smoothly back into space. On Earth, Admiral Pierce received the message from Daniel. He looked at the map on his screen. Each new signal meant another piece of history was alive again. Beacon is active, Pierce told his officers. We are rebuilding more than a fleet. We are rebuilding who we were. At the same time, trouble was coming. In deep space, an alien scout ship moved slowly near the human borders. Inside it, an agent sent messages back to the main alien fleet. The humans have found another ship. They're getting stronger. If we wait longer, we will lose. Our chance? The alien fleet gathered near a red star. Ships from many systems had joined. Their plan was clear. They would attack before the humans found all their lost power. Back on the horizon, Megan picked up a strange signal. It was fast and hidden. This is not from one of ours, she said. Daniel looked closer. It's a shadow signal. One is watching us. They tracked the signal to a small asteroid. Behind the rocks, a small alien drone was hiding. It had sent data back to the enemy. We need to shut this down, Daniel said. The beacon moved into position. A small beam of light shot from its side. The drone exploded in silence. Megan stared at the screen. They know we are searching. They are trying to stop us. Daniel sent a message to Earth. We were watched. The aliens are not done. We must move quickly. Pierce called a meeting of the top command. They are going to make a move. We must protect the team searching for the rest of the ships. More human ships launched from Earth, Mars, and the colonies. The sky near Earth grew full of lines and lights. Each ship took a place in the growing defense net. Meanwhile, Daniel and Megan flew toward the next location. The signal led them to an old moon near a dead planet. Under thick ice was a large base. They broke through and entered. Inside, they found something different. This was not a ship. It was a command center. Old screens lined the walls. In the center was a round table with lights on its edge. The lights turned green as they stepped in. A deep voice filled the room. You have returned. We are the Watchers. We kept the list. The list is now yours. On the wall, a map appeared. It showed every ship ever built by the first people. Each one marked with a color and code. Some were already found. Others still waited. This is the full record, Megan said. How we know where they all are. Daniel saved the data. We send this to Earth. This is the key. As they left the base, another signal came through. Warning. Enemy ships are near. Preparing to block escape. Beacon turned quickly. The alien fleet had found them. Daniel gave the order. Activate shield. Set a course back to friendly space. The ship moved fast. Enemy fire flashed in the dark. Beacon returned fire. One alien ship was hit and fell away. The rest chased them. Back near Earth, Admiral Pierce watched the incoming alert. They are under attack. Launch rescue units. 2 fast ships left Mars. They reached Beacon in time. Together, they fought off the enemy and brought the ship back. After the battle, Pierce spoke to the fleet. This is not just about old ships. This is about our place in the stars. We were strong once. We are strong again. But we must be ready. The galaxy has changed, and not all welcome our return. He paused and looked at the stars. We will find every last ship, and we will not run. Humanity was awake. The ancient power was theirs again, and the stars were watching.